So, as some of you may know, for the past year I've been studying for the USMLE exams, which are these 8-hour long tests that basically test all of medicine. But anyways, throughout the year, one of my biggest struggles was staying concentrated, particularly during long study sessions. I tried a bunch of techniques, tips, tricks, I did everything. And in today's video, I'm gonna share with you the 3 biggest lessons or tips I got throughout my journey that will hopefully help you get your studying skills to the next level. So, let's go. Okay, the single biggest lesson I learned is that if you want any of the stuff that I'm gonna share with you in a couple of seconds to work, your mind has to be there. And with that, I don't mean that you should be motivated and eager to study every single day.
Oh man, I'm so ready.
That's just unrealistic, and you will have plenty of days in which you would like to do almost anything besides studying, believe me. What I do mean is that you have to guarantee to the best of your abilities that the things that keep you sane, like mentally healthy, stay on your schedule. You see, we tend to believe that we are in control of our mind, but we don't. Just think about the last time you were trying to study while in the meantime your mind was all over the place. That happens a lot. And it goes to show you that our mind has kinda her own agenda. She loves to daydream, to ponder about the future, about exciting ideas, and most of the times she's not that into studying. So in my experience, if you wanna keep your mind under control, you have to give her time to think about those exciting ideas. She has to have that free time to think and ponder and be excited, be entertained. If not, she's just gonna fight with you whenever you try to study. Think of her like a puppy. If you want her to behave, you better take her for a walk every once in a while. So one of the best things that allowed me to concentrate when I needed to was allowing myself to have me time. It's called me time, right? For watching a movie, exercising, hanging out with friends. And you may feel, as I did, that you're wasting time. But believe me, you're not. You're just giving your mind the energy she needs. The second biggest lesson I learned is that continuing, that's easy. Starting, that's the hard part. And we've all experienced this, how we were slamming that study, going all in, making the work, and for just a second, you decide to take a break. Maybe to check your smartphone. And after a few minutes of procrastinating on Instagram, all of your motivation is lost. And you kind of want to get back to work, but you feel all of this resistance and you end up just laying there for hours on end doing nothing. It is precisely because of this that techniques such as the Pomodoro technique are not that useful when you plan to go in the long run. They may work for a couple of hours, but when you're having to do 20-30 sessions per day, your mind knows that the next 25-minute session is not a 25-minute session. It's the beginning of 10-25-minute sessions. So it is because of this that I ended up using a technique called the flow. And it sounds so dramatic because people describe it as like this trance state in which nothing disturbs you, you're 100% focused. But it's not at all like that. It's just taking advantage of the fact that you started and prolonging the momentum as long as you can. And I mean that literally. Your goal is to keep going as long as you possibly can. For me, it meant that I would eat breakfast while studying, brush my teeth while studying, do cardio while studying, eat lunch while studying, take a bath while studying. Well, maybe not that last one, but you get the point. And you're probably thinking, isn't that a bit too extreme? And yes, it is. That's why I kept most of my study sessions under 8 hours. So I would finish up by 2 p.m. and then go enjoy my normal life. And I would highly suggest you to do the same. Just because you can go for 12 hours a day doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean that your average day should be like that. But you have that power. It's in you. And whenever you need it for short bursts of concentration, well, you have it. My final lesson is that chances are you will screw it up. And in my opinion, you don't see this enough. You see all of these YouTubers and influencers telling you about study techniques, and you have to be aware of the fact that all of us end up screwing up along the way. I mean, at least for me, there were several days in which I began procrastinating amidst of a session, daydreaming, thinking about something else entirely. That happens a lot. And you can either lament yourself over how pathetic you are or start thinking about ways to get back on track. Some useful tricks I used that could help you are: first, motivational quotes and videos. And they're not magical, but they certainly work. Sometimes. One particular quote helped me the most.
It said, "Imagine how good things could get if only you did what needed to be done."
That phrase always reminded me of all of the things that I've achieved in my life, and the thought of, okay, I got to this point with all of my imperfections, all of my mistakes, all of my procrastination. Just imagine how good things could get if I improved all of those weak areas. So I would write that quote and a couple of other ones in my whiteboard, and whenever I started procrastinating, thinking about something else, I would just look at them and think, man, you're deceiving yourself. You're stealing your own time. Another highly useful tip was changing settings. For example, I found that standing up gave me a new breath of energy. The same for changing my environment, going to study downstairs, for example, changing my position. And I know this may not be for everyone, but I personally found that laying in my bed with the computer like this helped me a lot to concentrate. All of those things really helped me to keep that momentum going and stay in the flow. But as James Clear said, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so sometimes I just wasn't there mentally. And after 8 hours of studying, motivational quotes weren't doing the trick anymore. When that happened, I just stopped altogether and did something else entirely. And yes, I know that disrupts the flow. But sometimes, especially in longer study sessions, when you're trying to go for that 14-hour milestone, a break is needed. It's a matter of balance. You neither want to be taking 10 breaks a session, nor be pushing 2 hours when your mind isn't there. As you adapt to these longer study routines, you'll find that you get tired almost around the same time every day. So scheduling a flow break can go a long way. However, I do suggest caution with the activity that you choose to do within those breaks, because you don't want to create an opportunity for your mind to go wild mode and make it tougher to you to return to studying. For instance, I never use those breaks for doing creative work, because I know that when I start doing that, like editing videos, doing thumbnails in Canva, working on my YouTube channel, I just could keep going all day long. But anyways, those were my 3 biggest lessons. If you want to support this channel, you want me to upload more free content for you, please consider subscribing, liking this video, leaving a comment and sharing with your friends. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.